Welcome to the Wealth Embodied podcast. I'm your host, Brianna Faringer, an attorney, spiritual guide, and wealth activator. I'm here to help you align your mindset for abundance and break through any glass ceilings with money. If you're ready to embrace your highest calling, manifest with more ease, and create a life that feels lighter and more aligned, then let's dive in. Hello. Thank you for listening to the Wealth Embodied podcast. I'm your host, Brianna. This week is part 2 of a conversation that I had with Elizabeth Ashley of the Venus Legacy. If you didn't listen to last week's episode, I encourage you to go back and listen to that first, as it is the first part of the conversation that we have, which is talking about a topic that so many people struggle to reconcile. God, spirituality, universe, and we talk about how that plays in with money, purpose, and the deeper work of trusting yourself and the energies guiding you. Our conversation is about power, choice, healing, and coming home to who you truly are. Let's get into it.
I love this so much, Brianna, because it's like the idolatry of money or the idolatry of purpose, joy, love, God. Like that's actually a lot of what God is.
Yes.
Purpose, joy, and love.
Totally.
But if you're right, the health of your relationships, the value that you see in waking up every single day, the perspectives and the mindset that you have, like the gratitude that you walk with, it's like reverse, right? Like I'm gonna put money on a pedestal.
Yeah.
And no wonder we're in such a suffering reality and people have so many health problems.
Yes.
Because it's like you've actually completely warped. And it's the same thing I view with people's relationship with God based on religious tactics or based on their nature or nurture conditioning or their trauma conditioning. It's like you've completely warped what this actually is. And I think I was also seeing something recently. I think it was like a sermon with my church. God actually cares about money pretty deeply.
Yeah.
And there's, I think, like over, don't even quote me, but it's like a few thousand, maybe even like 15,000, or could be 5,000, different sermons or passages in the Bible directly related to money.
Yeah.
But it's about like our clear discernment with that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where people they don't have discernment anymore around it.
Yeah.
And therefore I'm right there with you. Like, I mean, there's many seasons in my life where I've like, I've had like a little 5-figure month and then it's like I've had like nothing for months and I've let it control me and define me at times. And it wasn't until I actually was like, you know what, like God is my ultimate provision as the eternal masculine and me as a woman, like he's ultimately always providing for me, that I felt this different level of true surrender. And not detachment, but like true surrender and true willingness at the same time to take accountability for my life and move it into the direction that I wanted it to move in.
Yeah.
And that's necessary because that's how you bring the light back onto your life.
Yes.
Rather than putting the light on the pedestal.
Totally.
And you constantly being in the dark.
Yeah. And I want to, I totally resonate with that. And I understand it because I can feel it. Do you know what I mean? And I'm saying this because I know people are hearing you say God. And I just want to point out again, I'm not religious at all. And I totally align with everything you're saying because I'm not caught up in the titles and I'm not caught up in all of the conflict around it. Because I resonate so deeply with what you're saying. If you're connected to God, creator, source, you can figure out what brings you true happiness and joy in your own life.
Totally.
The money is just a tool that can help with that.
Yeah.
But it's not going to change your life if you don't know the things that are going to bring you joy and happiness and purpose. And you feel it in your body and you feel it, coming from outside of you, which is a hard thing for people to understand. But that's what I'm trying to undo is all the programming we have about money. It's not the goal. It's a tool that can help us. And the best thing it can do is reflect back to you the things that are already needing and wanting to be healed in your life.
Right.
And if you use it for that purpose, all of the money you ever want will come to you.
I love that too, like really reflecting back to you all the things that you have to do or undo in your life. That's so key. I mean, I think about For me, like, there's been a lot of things, like, I've been provided for in many miraculous ways. Like, I
Yes.
mean, I, like, quite literally got, like, a $300 deposit. I got a gift today for $300 just out of nowhere.
That's amazing.
It is
That's a
amazing.
win. I love that.
It is a win, a total win. You know, so it's like, you know, like God's provision and that providing
Yeah.
comes to me too. And then there's been many moments where it's like, I feel I'm like, there's resistance.
Yeah.
Or it's like, or I see this in my clients. I've seen it with myself where it's like, oh, I just want to keep doing the same thing, even though I know it's not rewarding me. Like a lot of my clients, like they'll just trade their happiness. They'll
Yeah.
trade their aliveness. Like the women that I work with, it's like they'll just let themselves be numb and let themselves work to death to pay off their debt.
Yeah.
Or they'll just like invest over here and work on the next strategy and works on the next structure of their business, but they're not working internally on their embodiment, and they're not working on their energy, and they're not working on their nature, their aliveness, their pleasure, what makes them a woman.
Yes.
Their playfulness, their romance. It's highly warning. It's highly attracting.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like, and I've been in those spaces too. And I think that that's really important too, because if you're in that space where it's like not coming to you, it is a divine interruption for you to get mega clear
Yes.
on like, where does your purpose, where does your pursuits, where does your mindset, where does your embodiment need to shift? Like there was certain work, like I was doing a lot of work with men in 2024. And when I came out here and I started to move deeper, there was so much in the, you know, relationship work and the sexual coherence work and the emotional opening work that I was doing with men, that felt really in alignment for me. And then there was certain elements of it that just like, I feel like I outgrew, and I would keep doing it because it was like really easy money.
Yeah.
And then it would be like, but wait a minute, God is asking me to evolve the path. And one of those ways was to actually go and work with highly sensitive and highly trauma home backgrounds and highly disabled children, and share like a lot of my trauma therapy gifts and a lot of my, because I want to be a mom too. Like,
Yeah.
can you actually, like, I want you to spend more time with kids. And I had a lot of resistance because I could make $1,100 in 1 hour working with a multimillionaire male client that I've had, as opposed to $155 in an 8-hour shift with kids.
Yeah.
A lot of resistance to that because
Yeah.
of finances. And also, but it was like my desire wanted to move. I was outgrowing working with men. I was moving more towards like God at the center, this collective that I'm running, to working with children, to like the visibility shifting with Venus Legacy, my company, my corporation. But I had resistance because the money.
Yes.
And I was like, you know what, though? There's going to be those periods and there's going to be those moments and those movements where you have to trust that you have to make the shift.
Yes.
Because if you keep staying in the thing where the money is there and it's not in alignment with what God has for you, and like what's actually like meant to be for the next chapter, the next book that you're writing, then, you know, it's not worth it, because you're trading in all these things for the money, and you're actually never getting to the next level purpose that you're designed for, which is what makes you numb out.
Yes.
Because you're quite literally meant to come alive.
Yeah. There's like 10 things I feel like I could say. So many things coming up. But I think like this is like another thing that comes up is people make decisions around money, right? They're like, I have to keep doing this thing because I make money.
Toad.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
It's a choice. You have decided in your mind that you've made a series of choices, and now you've gotten yourself indebted to people, and now you feel compelled to keep doing the same thing over and over again just to make the money.
Yeah.
And I know with absolute certainty, because it's happened in my life, when you make decisions around money, things are not going to go well. When you make decisions around how you feel and what feels aligned for you, the money comes.
Yeah.
Right. And so like, and the other thing is like, what are you even chasing the money for? Most people, if you ask them what they're going to use it for, they don't have any fucking idea.
Totally.
They're like, I don't know. They're like,
it's band-aiding to catch up.
Right.
Like what they're behind.
I don't even know what they're doing it for. I'm like, do you even know why you're working your ass off?
Yeah.
And they just think, well, I'm just chasing this thing that everybody told me is so important.
Wow.
And then I'm going to buy a bigger house. And then I'm going to continue to be stressed out because I'm just going to keep putting myself in the same situation over and over again. And that's why I'm trying to tell people, working harder is not going to get you more money. Working more jobs, getting more experience, getting more education is not going to get you more money. Slowing down and changing your relationship with it will.
Yes. Yes. slowing down and changing your relationship with all of the external things based on how you relate. Like, and that's the thing, like a lot of the times people don't even realize the patterns that they're in because we're so dysregulated. And so you have to slow down. You have to practice
Put
patience.
the phone down.
Yeah.
Turn the phone off.
Turn the phone off. Connect with yourself, breathe, connect with your body. I mean, this is the basis of like the way that I work. I'm like, it's embodiment. It's the embodiment. If you are not here working on yourself, working on your nervous system, working on the relationship that you hold to this beautiful thing inside of your flesh, your mindsets, your patterns, your belief structures, your discernment, your ego, then every single decision you make externally is going to be like this hamster wheel thing.
Yeah.
That you're never going to get off of. You have to, and a lot of the times too, quite literally, you shut down God's miraculous gifts he wants to give you on top of you because you're so tunnel focused. You don't also see, I say this all the time, God's secret door.
Yeah.
There's a door that's available.
Yeah. And
that's
there's
not
magic
there.
behind it.
Magic. There's a door that's available that you can't even open because you're so anxious and so numbed out and so connected to your cell phone and your dopamine high that you can't even interpret that there's this magical thing in front of you that's trying to communicate to you and help you get to where you want to go, and not just faster way, but a lot of the times in a more aligned and pleasure-filled way.
Yes. Yeah. And this is something I say all the time to people. And I know I say it over and over again because I know it's a hard thing for people to understand. Your mind will lie to you, your body will not. So if you are going to pick one, always pick your body, right? Like tune into your body, get rid of all of the stuff that's happening up here, because everything that your body is telling you is what's going to get you every single thing that you want in your life. And it's going to lead you to joy, and it's going to lead you to happiness. And if you want money, it will lead you to money.
Yeah.
But if you are not willing to shut out everything and be present with yourself and with source, God, creator, whatever you want to call it, you're just going to continue on the same like hamster wheel.
I think something really important with that too is for like recognizing that if your body is telling you don't, it's important to also slow down, because there could be a growth edge, there could be resistance, it could be fear.
Yeah.
So it's important to also not like dissect like what you're feeling, but to give yourself spaciousness to actually feel and to let that, and then and this is where also like in my relationship with God, it's been very supportive, and I find the obedience to God a kinky, gorgeous thing, because I'm like, okay, I may not want to do this, right? Like, I may not want to stop working in the way that I have to go into this other avenue or client. Like, she may not want to like leave her corporate job and go and make her side hustle a full-time hustle, but ultimately, like, where's the resistance? Because that's where the work is. And unless you slow down and actually contact God and like ask the deeper questions, like your body, but that intimate relationship that you hold with that source, then you can't feel encouraged, because now the weight of the world is just on your decision making. And that's where I also like to give it a lot to God, because I'm like, wait a minute, if I'm giving this to God right now, or if I guide my clients to give that to God, it's almost like your immature ego or your resistance or your fear like just takes a little like step out of your body this way for a moment, and you get to receive like, okay, wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. There's something really beautiful here. Or maybe I didn't see that first door being open to me, or that perspective. And okay, this is what's being asked of me, to be brave, to have courage, to, you know, put my plans aside to go out tonight, to like really clean my apartment and work really deeply on structuring my new home and creating a clean foundation for the new sense of self that I want to embody, whatever it is, right? Like, it's a different level of interpreting, like, the weight of the world's not on your shoulders. There's another source there supporting you. And then you can get really clear on, hey, like that resistance or that fear that's making you not want to move, or making you mistrust making the move, or making you procrastinate and procrastinate and procrastinate and chase and chase and chase. Like, there's an easier way, and a more aligned way to get that wisdom.
We don't need to know all the answers. And we don't need to know the how.
Right.
That will come to us if we do exactly what you're saying. Go internal and be willing to sit with whatever's coming up.
Yeah.
Not bypassing emotions.
Yeah.
Not just listening to the chatter that's constantly going on in your mind, and getting very present with yourself, what's happening in your body, how you feel. Because until you do that, oh yeah, the lights are out again. Until you do that, you can't discern whether or not something is resistance or if it's actually not aligned for you.
Totally. Yeah.
Because it's like, that's what I tell people is like, resistance is tricky because it might actually be that the thing that you're having resistance to is not aligned for you.
Totally.
But you won't know that until you kind of feel into it.
Yeah.
And allow that consideration to be given from your body, not from your mind.
Totally.
Yeah. But
intimate relationship to your own choice.
yes.
Totally. And to the conversation that you're sharing, intuition, Holy Spirit, that you're having with that source. And there is a difference, in my opinion, to the voice of God versus your intuition or the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
I've actually heard very different things because it's been interesting. Like I feel the Holy Spirit and your intuition are the same voice.
Yeah.
But God is a different voice. And a lot of the times I also have to call on that source, and it's here. Sometimes it's just right there.
Yeah.
Other times it's like a little bit more difficult to hear because it requires, like, in a lot of the Bible, Jesus Christ speaks in parables. And the reason that that happens is because it's like, hey, are you willing to go deeper rather than just being on the surface? Are you willing to actually receive what I'm trying to speak to your heart, not just your mind? What I'm trying to speak to your emotions, what I'm trying to speak to your body, not just your mind.
Yeah.
And we're so unwilling because we live in such a, fast transactional society now. We're so unwilling to go deeper below the surface.
Right.
We don't have patience. But it's like you have to do that within yourself if you want to actually make the next move. And not only that, if you want to feel ignited and turned on and alive, and like the life that you're actually living is worth the adventure. What is the point otherwise?
Yeah. Well, and as you said earlier, it's a lot easier. Honestly, life is so much easier if you just stop trying to figure out everything out yourself and say, this is what I'm going through. This is what I want help with, and just allowing it to come to you.
Yeah.
That happens to me. I have endless amounts of examples of things like that happen in my life where I just decide I'm going to put out to the universe, this is the thing that I'm needing help with. The amount of times, like every single time I do that, the very thing I needed came in. And I say this to people, I always tell this people, I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this so that you have evidence that this can happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's about creating evidence in your life that things can be different. And you're never going to have that if you're not willing to trust things outside of yourself, trust yourself, go deeper and do the work, because no 10-step, formula that people give you is going to do it. It might help you a little bit, but it's not going to do it if you're not actually making the active choice to do the work.
100%. And a lot of the times those 5-step, 10-step formula, like it doesn't really stick because it's not sustainable.
Right.
Because it's something that you can put in place for immediate gratification.
Yeah.
But it's not sustainable because you've not actually made love with the formula.
Right.
In your life and why it needs to be there to begin with. You're just trying to copy paste and mimic something that you're learning, and you don't even have any emotional attention to the thing that you're putting in motion.
Yeah.
So therefore, how can it actually, I believe that you can make money, right? But it's like what we're talking about. It's not going to grow. It's not going to scale. It's not going to be sustainable. Something else in your life will be sacrificed.
Yes, it will only get you so far.
Yeah. Because there's no emotional connection, but really what I feel that is there's no soul.
Yeah.
There's no soul. You're just in the biggest, wake up I had to recognizing how valuable it was to really be focusing on somatic work and recognizing the importance of what somatics does when you're building a business and when you're holding a team and when you're running a movement and supporting clients and getting on stages and speaking on all these things. It's now there's a soul and there's a connection that you have to something. And at that time, where I didn't really necessarily, I was lit up about certain ways that I was like living my life, but it still felt like it was kind of just like instant gratification, just kind of like this high seeking. And until I really did the deeper somatic work, because I realized I wasn't here to be a mechanism of production.
Yes.
And even though I was doing passion work, like I was like, I'm not here to be a mechanism of production. Like my love life is being sacrificed. Like I feel anxious all the time. I'm constantly seeking. I feel depressed constantly. Like, I like until I actually said to myself, I need to do the deeper work here. And I have to have more of an emotional connection and more of a soul connection to every single thing that's happened in my life. I did not feel fulfilled in the big gifts or the little gifts.
Yeah.
So there was no gratitude.
Yeah.
Like, even though it was like surface level gratitude, it wasn't like this deeper, like intertwined weaving element of how I live my life in gratitude.
Yeah.
Which is just compounding.
Yeah. And again, this brings up so many things. I have like all these things I brought up, but the thing that actually really struck me about that is this is such a good reminder is that even if you are living in your purpose or providing a service to people that is aligned with your purpose, you can burn out and overdo it.
100%.
Right. And there's so many people out there. I hate this when people are like, oh, I love my work. I'm going to keep working for the rest of my life. I'm like, you need to rest.
Totally.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
you can be embodied in the work that you're doing and love what you're doing. But if you are not taking time to rest and be within yourself and continue to heal, you are going to burn out and you're going to make yourself miserable. And this is kind of like what I hear what you're describing. It's like you were doing something that you loved and there was probably a story of, oh, but I love doing this thing and I'm also making money. So I'm going to keep doing it.
100%.
And then you get to the point where you're like, I can't do this anymore because my body is not going to allow me to, And so this is such a good reminder for people. I think they get in this place where they're like, well, I am living my purpose and I love what I do. That's great, but there's still a limit.
Right.
And you have to be so aware of that. Otherwise, you're going to make yourself miserable. And then you're in the chase. You're like in the money chase, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and to me, I see that as like the hot, like that's of like, if we talk, if I can distinguish it with like my brand a little bit, like I might see that as like the hot. It's the fire, it's the energy, it's the action taking, it's sexy, you're passionate, you're turned on. But the holy is what rejuvenates you.
Yes.
It's that surrender. It's that like willingness to ask and to receive. It's that like co-creation that you're having with your passion, with your source, with your body to continue to not just execute, but to hold the big things that you're putting in motion.
Yeah.
Like you need that. It's required. You can't just have all of the one. But we live in a society that is built on the one.
Yeah.
Constant do, constant, like make it sexy, make it hot, never stop. Like just like buy this thing, be turned on over here. Make sure you're up all hours of the night watching this or being notifications of what's going on with the news. It's constant hot.
Yeah.
And there's not this like interception of like softness and sweetness and like the things that are important too of like just spending time in nature and just being or like being there at your meditation pillow and like praying to God and like receiving wisdom and co-creating that like with what you're executing on with your passion. So you're not working so hard.
Yeah.
You're working smarter rather than harder.
Yes.
And we need that.
Yeah. And when you incorporate rest, presence, play, fun, childlike fun in your life, that actually is what makes people more abundant than working harder. And so like this comes up a lot actually in sessions I do with people. This is a message that comes through often for people. And I'll see a theme when I'm getting messages for people in, intuitive sessions. And this is one of them is usually when a person is so in a space of like busy, doing, and thinking that they have to keep doing that to sustain some sort of financial wealth or whatever amount of money that it is that they're making. The theme that often comes through is incorporating play.
Yes.
And childlike play.
Yes.
More things that actually, the things that would have brought you joy as a child that either you did do or that you didn't get to do and you wanted to do. And it's so counterintuitive because people think, well, I could be working right now. And I think you could be playing right now.
Yeah.
And that's like, how can you bring more fun into your life? Because that's more important than making money. And it actually results in more money coming to you. That's the thing that people do not get.
Well, play is, it's innately very feminine. play and it's childlike.
Yeah.
There is innocence to it. Play is so feminine as well, and it's so magical and it's mystical and it's enchanting and it's captivating. It's magnetic.
Yeah.
So ultimately it attracts because it's like a lost art that we have nowadays.
Yeah.
It's looking at everything with wonder and magic.
Yes.
Not just living for seasons to
Yeah.
do that, but seeing that every single day. There's so much beauty around you at all moments of the day, at all times.
Yes.
And you have to slow down to see it.
Yeah. And this is something I tell people, and again, it's hard for them to conceptualize this, but I always say there's one place in time that you should be able to go back to. And this is hard for people, especially if they have I had a hard childhood, and I did too, but I can find one point in time that I could go back to where I remember being curious, open, like excited about all of the things in the world before I learned to be afraid of everything. That's when we were the most abundant in our lives, because we didn't have all of these things telling us, don't do that, right? Or be afraid of this thing.
Yeah.
If you can take yourself back to a time, or even like use your children or other people's children, or nieces, nephews, whatever, and look at them and see the innocence and the curiosity that they have, that's all you need to do. Like, if you can get back to that place where you can release all of the fears about everything, which I know is easier said than done, it honestly eliminates everything.
Well, it widens your perspective and your vantage point. Like, I see that even working with kids now, working with the kindergartners. When I've got this one group of kindergartners, there's like 25 or 30 of them, and they're just, I can't even, I'm like literally obsessed with them. They're so freaking cute. And I love the wonder.
Yeah.
And it's like, because there's things that actually happen when you're around wonder and with the beautiful and the innocence, is it widens your vantage point.
Yeah.
So you start to see things differently. You interpret things differently. And that's innately very creative.
Yeah.
Because it's giving you the perspective of, hey, I am having this thought. I'm having this sense of joy. I'm having this connection that I have to this thought and this sense of joy that's making me view life differently.
Yeah.
How do I want to leave from that? How do I want to create from that? How do I want to impact someone else in a conversation that we can share around that? So it does attract more opportunity, more abundance, more prosperity, because you're not living in this tunnel focused thing.
Exactly. Because if you decide this is the only way things can happen, there's no room left for magic, right? And the possibilities are infinite, but we've decided, oh no, there's only one of two things can happen. I can do A or B.
Yeah.
Kids don't think that way.
No.
That's why I'm like, just go back to, just try to remember being a kid if you can.
Yeah.
Or try to be the way that you wanted to be as a kid if you didn't have that, because people do have very hard childhoods. And so I understand that's going to be a hard place to go back. That may not work for everybody, but really, like, if you can just like look at a kid and a child and see how curious and how much wonder they have and how innocent they are, and just embody more of that, honestly, that's where a lot of doors can open.
God's secret door.
Totally. Yeah.
I talk about it too in a lot of the work that I do. It's like you're plugging into a miracle momentum. So it's like, that's where like the portal of miracles is open to you. And I have compassion for people that it's like, oh, but it's not easy for me to do that. And it's like, this is why, obviously it's about recognizing where's the opportunity for you to grow right now and evolve past your patterns, and where do you need to take like 100% accountability and like self-leadership and like stop doing the thing that you're so programmed to do, like pick up your phone every 5 seconds and digest 10,000 advertisements and like have 20 things that are added to your to-do list a day. It's like, I have to schedule on my to-do list, like, go out in nature. Like, go and do holiday event things. Like, go and like play. Like, go rent a cabin this weekend.
Fun.
You have to schedule
if
fun.
you don't, you're not going to do it.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with the holy element to your life. Schedule the receptivity. Schedule like the digesting life and the things that are happening for you. Schedule like how you're in that space of just being a visionary.
Right.
Like, you need to do that rather than just constant doing.
I love that.
Yeah.
The other thing that was coming up, actually, it's come up a couple times when you've been talking, so I feel like it's important important to say is that you and I have done so much work on ourselves and personal development and healing, and it doesn't end, right? It continues. But I think the thing that's really important to remind people is that we have all gone through really hard things in our lives.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of the reason you and I do the work that we do is because we have gone through really hard things. And I say that because I think sometimes people have this tendency to look at, like, even if somebody's listening to this and be like, oh, well, that's easy for you to say, you're a lawyer, right? So like they think that I'm like, I have a lot of money, or that I like came from money. And none of those things are true. I mean, I have made very good choices with money in my life, but like I'm not like nuts, which I wouldn't do if I had money anyway, right? I'd give it all away to like animal shelters. But
Well, you do like your horse.
I do. I know. I do have some luxury.
Of course you should.
But I say that because I think it's very easy to look at where we are and think that like we haven't done hard things. And I think it's just important to remember that no matter who it is, no matter where you are, everybody has gone through hard things in life. And if you're caught up in how hard your life has been, I would shift your perspective and recognize, where there are other people who have still continued to change their lives despite those things. Do you know what I mean?
So yes, my pastor, his name is Sean Johnson. He runs Red Rocks Church, and he actually just came out with an incredible book called Kiss the Fire. And it's about the brain disease, the degenerative brain disease that he received the diagnosis 3 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And this is a man who's like lived for God, built a incredible mission for God, right? And is now having this very intense like Parkinson's disease. And it's called Kiss the Fire because it's all about like, like where do you find the purpose in darkness, right? And like I understand this greatly because of Tantra and the philosophy behind it, right? Like if like I say this all the time, like if God is like a big pain point for you, and this is why I'm so turned on and find purpose in this right now. It's like, then where's your power? Where's our collective power in this? If this is such a pain point, where is it being harvested? And with what you're expressing, like, I'm right there with you. My relationship with God is so robust because I've almost committed suicide 3 times.
Yeah.
So I've gone to the complete opposite end of the spectrum of total darkness.
Absolutely.
And like almost like the darkest that you can go.
Yeah.
And like have asked for help to be able to get out of that, as well as turned my life completely to purpose, which is now actually like was God's like breath upon my life. What do you want for my life?
Yeah.
Which now is why I live my life for my creator.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't even be here without him.
Yeah.
In so many ways. But that couldn't be unlocked. These perspectives couldn't be unlocked or embodied had I not gone through that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of purpose that gets like lived in that. So you can't avoid that. You can't run from that.
Yeah.
Like you can all you want, but you're actually running and dodging and avoiding the greatest power that you're also seeking.
Yes. And that to me just brings me back to gratitude, right?
Yeah.
When you have gratitude and you recognize that everything that is happening in your life or has happened is because it's serving you in some way, it will completely change how you feel about it and how you move through life. And so, I mean, my dad did kill himself when I was 10 years old, right? And so, and I've had, there's plenty of other things that we've all been through, but I just say that because I actually view that as being one of the greatest things that has ever happened in my life, because it's given me a relationship with my dad now as a non-physical energy in a way that I wouldn't have been able to have if he had continued to live in the physical world. And so, but that is because of gratitude.
Yeah.
Right. And I wouldn't have that without it. And I think gratitude and purpose are so linked in that way. When you start to recognize, oh my gosh, all of this stuff is happening for me.
Yes.
It brings you to your purpose.
Yes.
I almost feel like they're kind of one and the same.
I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
Like recently, I'd say just a couple months ago, I really, because my last like severe fight with depression, was when I went through like a pretty spiritual demonic attack in October of 24. Yeah, 24. And so and I got baptized in February 25, and I haven't experienced anything like that since. Thank God. Thank you, Christ. Thank you, God. And the reason I'm expressing and sharing is because, there's that, like, I started to realize just a few months ago that really, like, when you hit that level of darkness too, like, I started to realize I have no purpose here without God.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be here without Creator.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, why would I live my life for my own ego?
Yes. Yeah.
Why would I live my life for my ego? I want to live my life for God.
Yeah.
Because God, Creator, has given me life.
Yeah.
And there's so much purpose in that, because
Yes.
then you take yourself, like, it no longer becomes this selfish,
Yeah.
like egoic thing. It's like, oh my God, radical impact, radical influence, radically visibility, taking up space, leading, like accountability, self-leadership, just wanting this to ripple out for everybody else to feel this type of magnetism, this type of, goodness and prayer and light upon their life, because it's like God breathed life into you
Yes.
for purpose.
Yeah.
Literally for purpose.
Yes.
What do you want to do with it?
Right. Exactly. You're here for a reason.
Yeah.
And you're here to.
And gratitude is a huge part of
Yes.
that, because you can't like that.
Yes.
The biggest thing I want to say around that is like, thank you, God, for giving me life.
Yeah.
Thank you, Creator, because now it's just like, that's how I'm connecting that. Cause I'm
Yeah.
like, there's nothing else for me than living my life with what God asks me to
Yes.
do.
And I again, I resonate with that 100%. I just call it something different,
Totally,
right? But that's
totally.
exactly how I feel too. I know that my reason for being here in this physical life goes so far beyond anything I could ever recognize
Yeah.
and that I have understanding of, but I don't need to have that understanding to know that it's my purpose. You know what I
Absolutely.
mean?
Yeah.
We are all here for a reason, and we are all here and we are all connected in
Yeah.
ways that we don't realize. But that doesn't matter to me, because I know that every day that I'm here and I'm living my life and I'm embodying joy and happiness, that it has meaning
Yes.
somewhere.
Yes.
So far beyond anything I can
Yeah.
understand,
Totally.
And that is really what keeps me going.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it keeps the world going.
Yes.
Because quite literally, like, it's felt, it's seen. Like, I receive from people all the time, like, your glow, your energy, I'm just attracted to you. And it's because you have found the reason to breathe.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be like building a business for that to give you purpose.
Right.
Like, it's who you are.
Yeah.
And the way that you move through the world.
Yeah.
It's the tiniest conversation that you share with someone.
Yeah.
It's, your willingness to like execute on that light and that goodness that you feel in your own,
Yeah.
in your own world.
Yeah.
And that's purpose. Gratitude is purpose.
Yeah.
So I love this conversation. It was gorgeous.
Me too.
Is there any last minute thoughts that you want to tie in with this?
I don't know. I honestly feel like that was pretty, like that, it really sums up, I feel like, everything, whether it's related to money, God, universe.
I feel like the thing that I want to just like end on is because like Brianna and I can be sitting in these two chairs for hours, but also like we're talking about all the things.
Yeah.
we did. This is basically how this podcast got worked. We're just like, we're having this powerful conversation right now on like money. Like, we should just like do a podcast, and months later, here we are. But we're sitting in these two chairs, like having different ways that we do life or view life in our relationships, in our businesses, in our belief structures. And we're still able to get along just fine, have an incredible conversation that provides value, and self-lead. And lead others. And I think that's the thing that I really want to leave here is it's important to not get tangled and chained by perspectives and belief structures that are foreign to yours. And it's important to also be open and teachable, because you never know what someone could say that could really land with you that you never put into perspective or context before, and how that is actually a necessary step in your evolution and your purpose in the next chapter, the next book that you're writing. And so that's one thing I want to say here is like, yes, like you work with the universe, I work with God. And there's different elements to that, right? Like, I mean, I see God, Creator, creating the universe. And I think that there's an element where we believe in that too.
Right.
And like, there's just ways that we're still interpreting and discerning the relationship that we have with these sources through the lens of goodness that it has for our life and love that it has for our life and through us. And that's something that I just really want to leave too is don't let your joy and your heart become guarded from the chaos of your mind or the guardedness and confusion or fear of other people's perspectives and how you feel they are different from yours, or they are like, it's not here to hurt yours when you cultivate this intimate relationship with yourself. If anything, I think it's here to solidify what you believe in, as well as to be teachable about how you can just continue to add on to what you believe in, which makes you a more powerful being.
Yeah, I love that, because I think, like, just one thing I want to say that is in line with that is when you're focused on the differences, that's all you're going to see. But when you focus on the similarities, you start to realize how much more connected you are with people, right? It's like we're all so much more similar.
Yeah.
We all want love. We all want happiness. We all have things in our lives that are important to us. If you get caught up on where things are different, it really prevents you from being able to grow and to see like the things that people can bring into your life, and where there's no conflict with things that you think there is a conflict in.
I love that so much. And that is so valuable for the world that we live in, right?
It's very divided.
And it's just a tactic of the enemy, in my opinion. And the only good thing that can come from it is by you leaning in to learn how to not be divided.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's like, be the bridge.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Gorgeous. Thank you, everybody, for being here.
Bye.
Hey, before you go, would you love to receive my 3-step masterclass to easily create and hold wealth for free? It's called Effortless Money, and it includes the exact framework to start attracting money effortlessly and manifesting abundance with more ease. If you want it for free, all you have to do is leave an honest review of the Wealth Embodied podcast, take a screenshot of this episode and put it in your Instagram stories and tag me at Brianna_Faringer, and we will send you the free Effortless Money Masterclass. This is how my clients have manifested a $13,000 check, a promotion resulting in a $30,000 salary increase, and significantly improved relationships. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you next time on the Wealth Embodied podcast.